Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Sisters Corner. I'm here with Brother Basharat, who's talking about the walking group that he's part of, which is A&J Walking Group. It is an informal group of friends and neighbours initially perhaps, and we're also talking about the benefits of walking and the sort of social impact that can have on the individual and on a community actually. So welcome again, and thank you for making this time to come and talk to us.
Thank you very much.
And inspire us, because just in the break, Brother, you were saying that it's had, the walking group that you're part of has had an impact on your health, you know, in terms of weight management, and the other thing you were talking about is quality of life. So could you just expand on that a little bit for us?
When like I said, I used to be fairly sporty when I was younger, then got married and
life took over.
Life took over, and I did let my health go, and I put a lot, you know, I'm not skinny now, but I even reached up to about 18 stones at one time. Then I met some, like I said, my friends, Javed Saab and a few others, and then got into walking with them. And we walked every Saturday, doesn't matter what the weather. I mean, I walked in, you know, rain is an understatement. Any type of weather that threw at us, we walked every Saturday.
So then you need a bit of commitment to it.
Commitment, you can't do anything without commitment. There's no such thing as, they say, cold weather or inappropriate weather. It's inappropriate clothing, really. We walked in every weather going every Saturday. Then initially I used to go walking with Javed Saab every morning in the Manningham Park, 6 o'clock every morning. And it requires a lot of commitment. And with that, obviously, I saw the benefits in my health. You know, I lost a bit of weight. The more I lost, my motivation increased. And then, as they say, rest is history. You know.
Or current history.
Yeah, current history. Yeah.
I suppose the important thing there is, I assume you were doing your walking, but you were also watching what you ate a little bit as well.
You have to. As they say, you can't just. It's like I was watching TV the other day. It's like you know. It's like having a bank account. You know, if you put £200 in your bank and you spend 100 is saved. Now, if I eat 3,000 calories and I only use 2,000, 1,000 is going to turn into fat. So if you still, with exercises, you know, you can sort of get fitter and maybe lose a little bit of weight, but you cannot, in my sort of humble opinion, that you cannot lose weight unless you watch what you put in your eat.
I don't think that's just your humble opinion. I think that's medical science as well, which is literally, I think the basic rule of thumb, and clearly I could do with listening to it more as well, is move more, eat less. You know, and if you want to do that, obviously if you've got any kind of existing health conditions, do get advice from whoever your medical practitioner is, you know, so just to be safe. But the other thing about walking for health, if I remember from a long time ago, is actually you need to just walk at a certain pace that gets you a little bit out of breath. Not completely out of breath, just a little bit warm. I think the way the walk leaders used to describe it to us was that you just get a nice sense of warmth around your heart, and that's about the right level of
you begin at a certain pace. Then, you know, you need to increase your heart rate above the normal one, maybe 20%, you know, and then slowly you'll find. I think the other thing I was going to say was that it's an activity where the results are very quick, and you notice the results in your everyday life. You know, you're able to do things more, you move, you don't get tired as much, and you know, you see quick results. You know, as far as how fitter you feel. You know, like I said, if you're a family man, you can, you know, you'll be able to, like I said, you find that you're able to play around with your kids more without getting, you know, too tired.
Breath,
you know, like I said, quick results. And it does require commitment and a bit of hard work.
But then it's like, there's lots of things in our religion that we do. So we pray 5 times a day, you know, inshallah, most of us, if we can. So it's about developing good habits, isn't it, and good routines.
That's the crux of the things, is having you know, you have to bring changes in your lifestyle, which includes, you know, exercise, the food, you know, rest, and you know, all the things. You need to have a balance in life. Without balance, you know, something goes astray.
And again, all our religion is about moderation and balance. So what would you say to people I've heard it said, who say that exercise is a waste of time, you know, you should spend the time in worship or something like that instead.
Well, people say we exercise time, you could maybe ask them how many tablets they take to, you know, as you know, certain illnesses are quite prominent in our...
Like diabetes or coronary heart disease,
like And facts, you know, speak for themselves. I don't have to preach about that. I mean, I personally believe, if it wasn't for Ashok and Javed Saab and getting me involved and, you know, a couple of other friends who were walking with us at that time, like I said, we only started with the 4 or 5, and it's only thanks to them. I thank them. Otherwise, I'd probably be, you know, my joints would be, you know, knees, you know,
maybe need
new knees, you know, and like I said, you know, how much weight can they carry? So, you know, those people that criticise, you know, like I said, it's balance, you know.
But also that thing there about saying it's a waste of time, because it's, I have a friend who calls it sort of faltu time or something like that, you know, it's just like waste, time pass or something like that. Actually, it isn't, because it is forced on us to look after our own bodies.
Of course.
You know, this is a gift as well, and we should, our body, we should protect it. And I'm hoping I'm not sounding like a hypocrite, because clearly I've got some care to do as well. But it is up to us to look after our bodies, to help it do what it needs to do. So to do our worship, it's looking after ourselves is part of that. And, you know, when you go on a walk, actually something I like doing, since I've done that since I've come back from Hajj, when I go for a walk, I take a little, you know, like tasbih or something in my pocket, and just being able to sit in the open air and contemplate on your deen and God and His creation is such a breathtaking, you know, and it only takes a few minutes. It just, you getting into that headspace, so it can be a very spiritual experience as well as a, you know, a healthy experience. My
wife who's watching might be criticising me for what I'm going to say now, but you know, we are, let's say we're born Muslims or whatever, born whatever religion it is, and you, you know, and you believe in one God and all, you know, creations of Allah and everything. And I can honestly say for myself and some of my colleagues who walk with us, some of the places you go and visit and the beauty you see, that's the time you say Allahu Akbar, Alhamdulillah, you know, Subhanallah, because that I feel, that's my belief.
You feel connected.
I won't look at the camera because wife will be staring at me.
Well, she can't, you can't see her now.
She might be putting a call through. But it's one of those things that, you know, you think this is not man-made. You know, this is not accident. You know, it's, you know, that's the time that you think this is, you know, you need to be, you know, even our religion says, you know, go explore the worlds. And worlds is used in plural
and
forms.
Wonder at God's creation.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And as they say, you know, people say, you know, I'm not a religious person, so I don't like to quote anything, because in case you get it wrong. But like I said, we all believe, I read it somewhere that, you know, as we say, all are creation of Allah. And Allah loves those who love His creation. If everything in this world is created by Allah, and then we need to respect that.
And the thing is, I know you're feeling a little bit shy about this, but you know, our relationship with Allah, it all comes in its own time, and we all have it in different ways. So this might be your connection and the way you connect and the way you feel, you know, God's present in your life. But for other people, you know, it'll be through prayers, or it'll be through something else they do that connects, and that's okay. We're all different, and we're all on a different part of our journey. So you know,
like I said, I mean, since I've walked, I appreciate life more. And the other one thing that we talked about is, you know, you can have a life. It's what type of life you have. You've got a quality of life. You know, I'm nearly 60. I'm 59, 60. And some of my colleagues, like I said, he was, my Javed Saab was 66. 10 years ago, he was taking loads of tablets, and he was, now, you know, he can walk from, you know, he can run 10, 20 miles, or walks, you know, and he's got a quality life. And then, like we were saying earlier, you know, people do tend to mimic or take, oh, why are you doing this for? You know, you're all, you shouldn't do this, you know. You know, they make all sorts of excuses. And I think those are the people that I think I feel sorry for, that actually, you know, can't even say something.
But is that to do with sort of our attitudes in some of our Asian communities to aging and becoming more elderly? So, you know, like we see, you know, around Bradford, and I'm sure in many other cities, you'll see 80-year-old indigenous people, you know, white people still toddling around doing their own shopping and this, that and the other. But in some parts of our community, you'll see someone who's 50 going, oh, well, I've got a daughter-in-law in the house, or I've got a son-in-law now, time for me to retire and step back from life. Whereas some people you see, and it's changing, I must say, it is changing, whereas, you know, in, say, the white community, you'll see some people just gearing up for life at 50, kind of going, yep, I'm relaxed now, I've paid off my mortgage, I can do more, and I get more involved and get more stuck in. I do think there is a little bit of an attitude change, shift we need in our...
It's needed, and it's changing slowly, but like we were saying the point of earlier on, it's like, you know, if you lived in, let's say I made an earlier point when we were talking off the air, that in Pakistan we had a tradition of, you know, for big family living somewhere, elders did something, then the youngsters lived after their parents or the grandparents. Now we live in different sort of times, different culture and different country where things are done slightly differently. I mean, you cannot, for everybody to, let's say your children to reach their potential, you need to let them free and to do, you know, do whatever they're meant to do, or, you know, education, job-wise, and just move around, you know, explore the world. And you cannot, you know, we have, our culture has a habit of using emotional blackmail to hold children back. I mean, I don't like to talk about too much personal things, but my daughter's was rheumatoid arthritis. She was, you know, at the age of 15, you know, or I think she might have been younger. My wife was going to probably say, oh, you can't even remember that. But, you know, when you look at suffering like that, and then, you know, as a parent, you know, you have to, like I say, it made me aware that the need to actually, you know, look after myself and, you know, be there for the children for as long as you can.
Absolutely,
you know,
and inspiration comes
not to hold them back, but don't want them to be thinking, oh, I need to be with my dad and need to do X, Y, and Z. Hopefully, you know, in the times of difficulty, people do, you know, as they say, blood is thicker than water. And then, like I said, in this country, everything, nobody dies of hunger.
Of course, yeah, nobody dies of hunger. But there is this thing, I know, Islamically, you know, culturally we all grow up, and the expectation and the norm still, even though it is changing, is that parents look after children, and then when parents get elderly, the children look after their parents. And there's nothing wrong with that, but like you said, there is that sort of space in the middle where whilst children are out there exploring the world, they're understanding, they're developing their sense of self and, you know, what they can contribute to the world. That's usually, I think now, when the parents are in that sort of 40 to 60 age range, where actually that's a really interesting and useful, and I say 40 to 60 because I know 40-year-olds who've got 20-year-old children, so that's why I'm saying, but you know, your 40 is not old. I know because I'm older than that. The 40 is not old, but neither is 60 anymore. And and actually, you know, staying fit and active mentally and physically as long as you can, if that allows your children to go off and explore the world and learn and develop, that's a good thing. You know what, inshallah, if you live to be 80 and you need a bit more support, having children who want to look after you rather than feel they have to. Like there is a difference, isn't there?
There is a difference.
So you don't, you genuinely, if you're a decent person and you've got family member who's struggling, you would want to help them. And that is a part of your faith, but you don't just do it because of that. You do it because you love them, you care for them, and you want to see them okay.
Like I said, it's like a point I made earlier on, like if Javed was, he normally says it more than I do, but it's the quality of life, you know, you want for yourself and for your family and your friends, you know, and looking after your health in whatever way. I mean, that's physically and emotional health enables you to do that. Absolutely. And we cannot sort of, I think, like we said, things are improving, but we cannot hold our young generation. And I think habits need to change, but they're changing very slowly. Hopefully, we'll get there.
There'll be a balance.
Yeah,
and it's actually, it is a good thing if children look after the parents, let's be honest, but you know, but we don't want to be a burden. I think that's what you're saying.
There's nothing, I think if I'm all for it. If your lifestyle is such and you're able to do that, you should do that, you know, but it's, you know, it's your own situations you find yourself in.
Absolutely. So we haven't got long now, actually, unfortunately. So I just wanted to move us on to, you also fundraise by doing your walking. Can you just tell us a little bit about that?
We have done various events in the past where we've, when we did raise some money for charity when we went to Morocco, did the Mount Atlas Mountains, Mount Toubkal. We raised for money for cancer research. I'm doing a challenge with AJ Walking Group 5th, 6th and 7th of May. We're doing 3 peaks on Saturday, 3 peaks on Sunday and 3 peaks on Monday. That's 75 miles, 9 mountains in 3 days. That's we're doing that on 5th, 6th and 7th, and we're raising some money for Alzheimer's this time. And a couple of our colleagues, Sharif and Mohammed Sharif is from Keighley, and Iki, our dear friend Iqbal Rana Singh, they went to they did the Everest Base Camp last year, and I think they raised I think they'd kick me, but it would close to be about maybe £5,000. So you know, we do what we can. Occasionally we do, and we also participate in a couple of charitable events. One is, I don't know, there's an Seva UK. There's some Indian friends who were involved in that charity. They hold a charity event in June. They used to be May, but June, and they've got, like we were talking about, the involvement of the community. If anybody is free, they should. I don't know, because it falls in maybe middle of Ramzan or end of Ramzan. They've got about 500-600 people turn up in Yorkshire Dales, and that includes, we were talking about, the lady was saying, young children, families, people of all ages. Some do 1 peak, some just take part in it. You've got loads of ladies and men, just helpers, you know, volunteers, and you know, we can, as a, I shouldn't single communities out, but our Pakistani communities could learn a lot in doing, you know, getting involved in charitable work that way, and raising money for the needy, and at the same time they're involving, getting the communities involved in doing positive things, you know, like walking.
Absolutely. And we have lots of examples of that in different communities, but like you said, there's always more we can do. So I think what's really nice about what you're just saying there is, you go on this walk, you enjoy it, so it's okay for it to be pleasurable, so you do actually enjoy it. You enjoy being out in the open air, and you know, you get to admire, you know, Allah's creations. As I said to my nieces and nephews the other day, I said, just look at this. We were in the countryside for a drive, and I was saying, just look, you know, Allah, you know, subhanahu wa ta'ala made all this, and then he decided, oh, and the world needs a Hamza, and the world needs a Hassan, and isn't that amazing? So when you look at it like that, and you think, you know, the supreme being that can make all that then chose to also make us, it's just really, really humbling. But then what I also like in that example that you're giving there is, so you benefit, you enjoy it, fantastic, but you also have your own personal health benefits. You do, but in that walking group, you're also listening to other friends. You're being a shoulder to cry on if they need it, or you're just listening, or you're just chit-chatting and, you know, talking through, doing a bit of joint problem solving,
like
as you do.
It's a lifestyle, and we're like a family.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, you might have a teenage daughter that you're talking about. They might need a bit of help with, you know, something that's going on. That mashallah is, you know,
my
really
kids don't ask me when they go to their mum.
Oh, bless. That's really healthy. But this idea of the charitable, the fundraising that you do as well, so as well as benefiting yourself, society, thinking a little bit about your spirituality and your maker, you're also being able to use this as an example and a vehicle through which to contribute to society. Yeah,
the other point I was going to make was that I think, you know, in a sense, it gives you a sense of belonging. You know, that you know, this is, like I said earlier on, that this is a country I live in, and this is a country where I belong. I was born somewhere else, and that's dear to me as well, because my roots are there. But the world is created by the Almighty, and you know, it's for me to explore and live where I choose to live. And there is no, and I have sense of belonging when you go and explore the, you know, the beauty, and you know, you feel that, you know, this is, can you imagine people living in Bradford, when we're in Bradford, some people haven't been outside 5 mile radius, apart from get a bus or go to Blackpool here and there, and there's so much beauty. Just half a mile outside the radius, you can go to Haworth, you can go to Bingley, you can go to Belden, and Yorkshire Dales, you know, it's called.
It's on the doorstep, isn't it? Yeah, Bradford is the doorstep to the Dales.
Is second to none. It's my favourite place for walking, and you go there and you think, wow, you know, that's where you get, you know.
Have you been to Scotland?
Yes, we've done Ben Nevis, and you know, we've been there a few times. We've been to.
I love Scotland.
Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Scotland is nice, but the weather is, it's even colder.
Unreliable.
Unreliable, yeah. But I mean, we as a group, we go abroad once a year on a
walking trip.
A walking group, there's about 8, 10, we all join together and sort of, we've got a couple of excellent chefs. Ashok Bhai is an excellent chef. He's even managed to teach my wife how to cook, which is the one reason that I haven't lost any more weight. But but like I said, it's become like a lifestyle and a family sort of atmosphere in our group.
Fantastic. So we've only got a few minutes left before we have to finish. So just to summarise, I'm going to put you on the spot now. Where is you've said Lake District is one of your favourite places, but is there a walk that you can name that you'd say is quite easy for people to do, but also introduces people to the Lake District? I
think if I was going to introduce somebody to walking, I won't take them that far. I'd take them to Malham.
Right. Okay.
Malham is on a nice day. It's easy, manageable walk, and the scenery is, it's amazing on a nice day. You don't even have to venture as far as lakes. Lakes can be quite, like I said, there are some really, we can go. People go to like Windermere. There is, there's, like I said, there's websites like Walking World. You can a small donation, and you can put the name of the area, and they'll print loads of walks there with photographs and where to start and where to turn left, right, and there's loads of places you can go into lakes as well. That's easy walks, but like I said, Malham, even Haworth. Yeah.
Haworth. If you are Bradford based and or we have lots of connections around the world from Bradford, don't we? So if you've got visitors, Skipton Woods is beautiful. Just around there we've got Goitstock waterfalls. So we've got lots of beautiful scenery, and one of the things I love about Bradford is, and people don't believe this, it is 2/3 rural, so it's actually more country than it is built up.
It is.
And people are always surprised when I say that, because they just think it's such an urban centre, and it is that as well. But the walks around the area here are absolutely amazing. So and similarly everywhere, maybe apart from London, usually there's some kind of nice pleasant walk very within 15-20 minutes. So we've only got a couple of minutes now, brother. So any last thoughts to people? How should they get involved in walking?
I think get some walking gear, and just you don't even get walking gear. You just get your trainers on. Start walking around where you live, around the park, around the streets, whatever. And then there's like I said, if you live locally, there's local, like council websites. There's I know in Bradford there's about 3-4 Asian groups. There's Cramblers, there's AJ Walking Group, few of them.
There's Idle Walkers, there's Idle Ramblers.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things. If you're willing to do that, there is people out there you can join, and they welcome you with open arms.
Absolutely. And I would just suggest that, as you said, do look up, I think it's still called walkingforhealth.org, so you can look up there, and there's lots of hints and trips. There's lots of guided walks. If you do type in Ramblers Association, if you want to start getting out and about a little bit, there's lots of different kind of qualities. And honestly, one of the best things anyone can do is just make an appointment with a friend, get on a bus, or walk to your destination and just explore. I suppose the important thing to remember is the benefits of walking for your health and for your community are absolutely immeasurable. But actually there's a spiritual connection there as well, which we discussed. So anyway, inshallah, I hope to bump into you on these walks at some point somewhere. Thank you so much for your time, and good luck with your walking and your fundraising. Do you have a Just Giving page that people can?
Yeah, I think it's AJ Walking Group, but it's called Basharat's page.
All right, Basharat's page, if you want to support his 9 Mountains walk for Alzheimer's Society. So inshallah, until next time, thank you very much for listening, and thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Thank you, it was an absolute pleasure. So inshallah, and see you next time. Assalamu alaikum.